Dr. Marcel Petiot, the killer who disguised as a hero, a deadly network in the heart of Paris. In March 1944, police were called to a house at 66 Rue Caumartin, Paris, after residents reported a foul stench and smoke coming from the chimney of Dr. Petiot's home. What greeted them was unlike anything they had ever seen: dismembered human remains scattered throughout the house. This moment unveiled the dark truth behind one of France's most ruthless murderers during World War II. Petty theft and the seeds of crime. Born on January 17, 1897, Marcel Petiot exhibited violent and rebellious tendencies from a young age. At 11, he brought his father's gun to school and fired it indiscriminately. Coupled with an attempt to coerce a classmate into sexual relations, his schooling was promptly suspended. By age 17, Petiot had begun a serious life of crime, starting with theft and vandalism after stealing a public mailbox. A comprehensive psychological evaluation deemed him mentally ill, clearing him of all charges. Despite this, Petiot was drafted into the French army in 1916. A facial injury sustained during the Battle of Aisne led to another psychological assessment, which concluded he was mentally unstable. He was frequently transferred between convalescent homes and was arrested again for stealing military blankets, morphine, and fellow soldiers' belongings. Diagnosed with multiple psychiatric disorders, Petiot was discharged in June 1918 after shooting himself in the foot. Instead of pursuing treatment, he enrolled in a fast-track education program for veterans, obtained a medical degree, and began practicing in Villeneuve-sur-Yonne. Here, Petiot quickly became addicted to two things that would define his life: drugs and murder. Beginning of Dr. Satan. In Villeneuve-sur-Yonne, Petiot gained the trust of many as a charming and intelligent doctor. He wasted no time continuing his crimes, prescribing addictive drugs to patients, secretly filing for government aid on their behalf to double his income, performing illegal abortions, and stealing from his patients. In 1926, Petiot became involved with Louise Delaveau, the daughter of an elderly patient. Louise suddenly disappeared in May of that year. Neighbors reported seeing Petiot load a large trunk into his car around the time of her disappearance. Police investigated, but found no evidence. Weeks later, a similar trunk was found floating in the Yonne River, containing dismembered female remains. Political glory or a shadow of crime? The scandal didn't slow Petiot down. Later in 1926, through underhanded tactics, he became mayor and married Georgette Leblay, the daughter of a wealthy landowner. They had a son in 1928. Petiot immediately began embezzling town funds. His tenure was marked by scandals, including embezzlement, theft, and fraud, forcing his resignation in August 1931. Shortly after, he was elected as a councillor, but was dismissed for stealing electricity. Afterward, Petiot moved to Paris to start anew. Forging documents, he opened a clinic at 66 Rue Caumartin. He continued his illicit activities, prescribing narcotics and engaging in fraud. His kleptomania led to another arrest, but he was released due to mental illness. This marked the rise of Petiot's sinister ambitions. He devised a plan that was both financially and materially rewarding. Bloody schemes. The atrocities continued as Petiot evaded the German conscription order in 1940 by forging disability certificates and resumed his work as a doctor. Claiming to be a member of the resistance against German forces, he established a fake escape network with 3 accomplices. He declared that he could help those pursued by the Germans escape France and reach Argentina or other South American countries via Portugal, charging a fee of 25,000 francs per person, equivalent to nearly $500,000 USD today. In addition to this fee, participants were required to agree to vaccination before entering Argentina. Horrifically, what Petiot actually injected them with was cyanide. Once his victims died, he stole all their possessions and sought ways to dispose of their bodies. Initially, he dumped the victims' corpses into the Seine River. But this method became too risky. He then switched to dissolving the bodies in quicklime or burning them. Eventually, the Gestapo, the secret police force of Nazi Germany, caught wind of this escape network. After a period of surveillance, the Gestapo captured Petiot's 3 accomplices. None of them could have imagined that Petiot was not only a human trafficking ringleader, but also a serial killer. Devil Doctor, the House of Black Smoke. Petiot's luck ran out on March 11, 1944, when a neighbor reported suspicious black smoke from his chimney, accompanied by a foul odor. Police and firefighters discovered a house of horrors. In the basement, they found 10 buried bodies. The fireplace contained burning remains, and the backyard held more dismembered corpses in a quicklime pit. The house was filled with suitcases, clothes, and personal belongings of the victims. Petiot had fled the city. 7 months later, on October 31, 1944, after Paris's liberation, he was arrested at a subway station. During his trial, Petiot insisted he was a member of the resistance and that the corpses were Nazi informants. However, he failed to produce any proof or witnesses. Convicted of 26 murders, he was sentenced to death and guillotined on May 25, 1946. His final words, "Gentlemen, I ask you not to look. This will not be pretty." Thus, the life of one of France's most merciless butchers came to a grim and unsettling end.